Myself Siddharth Chauhan, welcome to Easy Medchem. Today's part of the video will be covering about the introduction part of the neuroanatomy. So today's topic of the introduction part of neuroanatomy is the Menings of the brain. So we are doing the introduction part of the neuroanatomy. Introduction to neuroanatomy. Okay, and today's part of the video will be covering about the Menings of the brain, meningeal covering of the brain. Menings of brain and spinal cord. So in a whole, we are having three Menings, that the protective covering of the brain and the spinal cord. The three protective covering of brain and spinal cord are: first one is the dura mater, second one is the arachnoid mater, and the last one is the pia mater. So the three protective covering that covers the brain and spinal cord are dura mater, arachnoid and pia mater, and the space between the dura mater and the arachnoid is the subdural space, and the space between the arachnoid and the pia mater is the subarachnoid space. So the space between the dura mater and the arachnoid is the subarachnoid space. Is a subdural space, okay? Subdural space. And the space between the arachnoid mater and the pia mater is the subarachnoid space. Subarachnoid space. So these are the spaces which are formed between the dura mater and the arachnoid, which is the subdural space, and the between arachnoid mater and the pia mater is the subarachnoid space. And in the subarachnoid space, the CSF is flowing. The cerebrospinal fluid is formed and flowing. Okay, this is flowing here, cerebrospinal fluid. So in general, if this is the brain, I'll roughly draw the brain here. If this part of the brain, if this is the brain, okay, this is the midbrain, this is the Pons veroli, and this is the medulla oblongata, and below this is a spinal cord. Okay, I'll roughly draw the brain structure here. This is the midbrain, this is the Pons veroli, and this part of the brainstem is the medulla oblongata. And at the level of Pons veroli and the medulla oblongata, posterior side we are having a cerebellum. This is the cerebellum. Okay, this is a rough diagram of the central nervous system. Today's topic we will be covering about the protective covering of the brain. So the pia mater is tightly adhere to all the structures which are in the brain and the spinal cord. It adheres to the brain and the spinal cord. It tightly adhere to the brain and the spinal cord. So if this is the brain and spinal cord, the pia mater will follow all the crevices, all the spaces which are being formed by the in the brain and the spinal cord. It is continued in all the fissures, it is continued in all the sulcuses. So this is the pia mater, which get tightly adhered to all the structures of the brain and the spinal cord. This part is the pia mater. Okay, this is the pia mater. So this pink color is the pia mater, which tightly get adhered to this structures of brain and spinal cord. So if this is the brain and this is the spinal cord, this pink one is the pia mater, and outside this pia mater the arachnoid mater is present. The arachnoid mater is present. It is not tightly adhered to all the structures of brain and spinal cord. It is present just outside the pia mater. This is the arachnoid mater. It will not get tightly adhered to all the structures of brain and spinal cord. So this is the arachnoid. Arachnoid. This is the arachnoid mater. This orange one is the arachnoid mater, and outside this arachnoid mater the dura mater is present. Outside this arachnoid mater the dura mater is present. In generally the dura mater is having two types of layers. The dura mater can be divided into two types, which are the ostigial dura and the meningeal dura. Ostigial dura and the meningeal dura. And outside this dura mater, so if I'll draw this is the dura mater, which is the purple in color. If this is the dura mater is divided into two types. The dura mater is divided into two types, which are the ostigial dura and the meningeal dura. Ostigial and meningeal dura. The ostigial dura is tightly get adhered to the skull from the inside. If this is the dura mater, it is get divided into two types. We can see this. If this is the dura is having two layers. This one. The dura is having the two layers. The dura which is outside is the ostigial dura, and the dura which is inside is the meningeal dura. The ostigial dura will get tightly adhered to the cranial cavity from inside, and meningeal dura is further inside to the ostigial dura. So if I label this, what I have drawn here, if this green is the brain and the spinal cord, and this pink one is the pia mater. This pink one is the pia mater, which will get tightly adhered to brain and spinal cord. All the sulcus, all the fissures, this pia mater is present here. And this orange color is the arachnoid mater. This is the arachnoid mater. Okay, this is the arachnoid mater. And this purple color is the dura mater. This purple is the dura mater, which is having two layers, ostigial dura. This is the ostigial dura, and this inner side one is the meningeal dura. Okay, this is the meningeal dura. So in the whole, this one, in the whole, this full one is the dura. This full one is the dura mater. And now the space which is present between the pia mater and the arachnoid is the subarachnoid space. This is a potential space where the cerebrospinal fluid is flowing. This space, which is where the cerebrospinal fluid is flowing, which is present between the pia mater and the arachnoid, is the subarachnoid space. Subarachnoid space, which is being formed in between the pia mater and the arachnoid, where the cerebrospinal fluid is flowing here. So there are the two potential spaces where the cerebrospinal fluid is flowing. First one is the all the ventricles, which we have learnt previously, and this is the second space, which is the subarachnoid space, where the cerebrospinal fluid is flowing. These cerebrospinal fluids, these two connections are communicated with each other through two openings which are foramen of Megendie and foramen of Luschka, which we have learnt previously. Okay, this is the subarachnoid space which is being formed between the pia mater and the arachnoid, and the space which is being formed between the dura mater and the arachnoid, this one, the meningeal dura and the arachnoid, the space which is being formed between the meningeal dura and the arachnoid, this one, this space, this is the meningeal dura and this is the arachnoid. This space which is formed between the arachnoid and the meningeal dura is the subdural space. This is a subdural space. And outside the ostigial dura we are having a cranium here. So this is the cranium, cranial bone. This is the cranial bone. Okay, if this is the cranial bone, now the space between the cranial bone and the meningeal dura, if this is the meningeal dura and this is the space, this is the potential space which is being formed between the cranial cavity from inside and the ostigial dura, this space is the epidural space. Okay, epidural space. This space is having a importance that this space is only formed, or this space is only present in the cranial cavity. This is not present at the level of spinal cord. So we are not having a epidural space at the level of spinal cord, but we are having a epidural space at the level of brain or cranium. So this is the important one, that we are not having, we will not find epidural space at the level of spinal cord. It is only present at the level of brain. Okay, this is an important one. So that's all for this part of the video. We will be covering about the introduction to neuroanatomy and further topics of introduction to neuroanatomy in the next part of the video. So do like, share and subscribe my channel and press bell icon for more notification, and do comments also. Thank you. Please like, share and subscribe Easy Medchem and press bell icon for more notification.